You're watching Local News 8 Newsline on Fox 5. Local people, local news.
Good evening and welcome to Newsline tonight. I'm Todd Coons. We're going to do some things a little differently tonight. I have a special guest with me and we will spend a half hour talking about her background and why she's here in Eastern Idaho all the way from Australia. So let's welcome in Kate Fitzsimons with me now. And Kate,
thank you.
Australia, huh?
Yes, the land down under.
You're in summer there.
It is. It's pretty hot at the moment.
And so you come here, and we've had all this snow since Christmas.
You have mountains. I love mountains.
You love the
and
mountains.
Snow. So it's a treat for me. I'm feeling very lucky to be here.
Well, we're lucky to have you here, and we want to talk about why you're here and what you do here. You were here last year,
yes,
and you came back. So we're going to get into that a little bit. But Kate from Australia, you are a motivational speaker, primarily for kids, but others as well.
Yeah.
Just give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah, so I mean, I found my way through high school like most teens, you know, pretty anxious and overwhelmed, and ended up with an eating disorder and everything. It was rough being a youth, and that's why I have such a soft spot for them now. But what really put me on the path I'm now on towards, you know, helping mental health and building resilience in teens is, as a 20-year-old, I woke to the devastating news that my beautiful big sister, who was just my absolute best friend, was tragically killed in an accident overseas. And for the first time in my life, I was just in this heart-wrenching situation that I couldn't change no matter what. And so it really forced me to dig deep and learn some powerful things about, you know, the power of our perspective and our ability to take control of our response to things. You know, we don't get a choice in what happens to us, but we always get a choice about how we respond to it, because that's always coming from our own perspective. And that's the one thing I realized that the driver who killed my sister could never take away from me. And that is where I rebuilt my life. And now, so I went on to create a campaign around Australia, educating Aussies about travel safety, as my sister was killed in a motorbike accident overseas, not wearing a helmet in Thailand. And so I took the lesson from the absolute mess of my life and use it to create something meaningful, and that's something that we all have the ability to do.
You've mentioned before that at that time in your life was kind of a rock bottom, but a lot of people, when they get that rock bottom, you can choose whether to just bottom out or turn it around. Was there something that how did you turn it back the other way?
Yeah, I think a big piece of it is resilience isn't built upon instantly trying to jump to the positives of what happened. It's simply to that place of acceptance. And, you know, it's not trying to say that the world is totally rainbows and daisies and everything's fair. It's actually accepting that we do live in a world where things can be really unfair and can be really cruel, and we have to accept that we're not entitled for it to be any different than that. You know, I think, and it's a growing thing in our youth and our generation, where things are so simple and quick and easy now, that we're kind of losing that perspective that yes, we live in a world where adversity is a very real place, and that first place is to stop arguing with the past. Whether it was 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago, we can't change it. And really what resonated with me were a lot of stories of the Holocaust, Viktor Frankl, who spent time in concentration camps, and he wrote this quote that everything can be taken from man but one thing, and that's the freedom to choose your attitude. And when you step back and look at that, like a guy who survived some of the greatest horrors is still talking about freedom of choice. That's when you just have to have a long look in the mirror and really, you know, once you've had the meltdown and you've let it out, the frustration, you reckon, like, you get to that point, what am I going to do with this bad thing? Stay stuck at the effect of it and let it make me bitter, or find that way to change the effect of it and use it to make me better. And the difference is just that choice in perspective, and I can't make the choice for the teens, but I can show them that it's always available to them.
Okay, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about, the teens here in Eastern Idaho, what you do, the message you bring to them, and we'll visit some more about that. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more with Kate Fitzsimons, motivational speaker from Australia. All right, welcome back to Newsline tonight, visiting with Kate Fitzsimons from Australia.
Yeah.
We have to always add that in there because it's really, it's nice. It's nice to have you here from such a long distance.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun with the kids too. You kind of see them sit upright. They're like,
yeah?
hang on, where's she from? And I teach them some Aussie slang too, which is always good fun. So, like esky and all that. What do you think an esky is?
Esky?
Yeah.
You got me on that one.
It's a cooler bag.
Okay.
In Australia.
Like a Like just a cooler.
Yeah, Esky. I like to think we got it from Eskimo. I'm not sure.
Okay, I could see that.
I'm trying to make sense of that one.
There's lots of those.
Yeah.
Do you find differences here that are just like,
well, even today, my boyfriend and I, he's American, and I said, where's a texter? And he looked at me like, are you looking for the toaster? Like, do you know what a texter is?
No. This is you know what? If he's over there texting, he's a texter.
Well, technically, yes, but in Australia, text is like a marker. Okay. So like we used to, as kids, have like texters that connected together, and so I was looking for a texter to write something, and we've been together like a year now, and we still have lost in translation moments. So. Can
I ask, do I have an accent to you?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Do you guys not think you have accents?
No.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And we wanted, Nate's over there too as well, and it's been a pleasure to meet him. You're around you came here last year to Eastern Idaho, spoke at several schools.
Thank you to Mr. Devine, Robert Devine from Idaho Falls High School. He found me on the internet, he loved my message and felt like this is the exact thing he wanted his students to hear. So it was actually December 2018 I had the opportunity to come and visit Idaho for
I remember because it was snowing.
Oh yeah.
And you liked the snow.
I love
Your
it.
list last year was a few, sure.
Yeah.
But he booked you with several high schools and middle schools this year.
Yeah.
From Rigby to Century High School to Malad, Taylorview Middle School. From yesterday through, you're here for 2 weeks.
Yes.
So let's hear it. Your message for teens, overcoming adversity, what do you bring to them?
My biggest, I'm always thinking when I create my presentations is be who you needed when you were younger. And as I said, I struggled a lot with anxiety myself, and I know what led to my eating disorder was I felt so out of control over how I felt, because we really grow up believing that all of our feelings and reactions are being caused by directly what's happening to us. And as we begin to grow up, we realize there's so much beyond our control in this world. So how are we supposed to have any control over how we feel and react to things? But really, like I said, the people like Viktor Frankl and everything taught me that it's really what's causing how you feel isn't the event or circumstance itself, but ultimately in the way that you think about and interpret that thing and what you make it mean. So I think rather than trying to make the world constantly easier for our teens, we're just actually taking away their opportunity to practice resilience. Like, we need hard things in our life to practice our skills at coping with them. I want to help teens build up the skill which is ultimately going to build resilience for them, and that is their ability to interpret things and take the perspective that creates feelings of, courage and determination and motivation to overcome those hard things. And so through sharing my story of how, I created a charity in honor of my sister and helped others, and we always have that opportunity to find purpose and meaning and create something or find a solution rather than arguing why this shouldn't be happening. What next? Who can I become of this? That's what we want to be focused on, because that's what begins to reduce the anxiety. When you're not focusing on what's outside of your control, of course you're going to feel out of control then. But if we can redirect them to the one thing that they always have perspective over, and then continue to bring examples of people who have gone through the worst but taken the best from that to create something. You
brought up the word focus and perspective, the words, and we've talked before, perspective, maybe changing that perspective, but this stuff, social media nowadays, these things, pressures that kids grow up with, that gives a false perspective. Oh, I've got to be like so-and-so, I've got to be like them, when in reality they're taking pictures of their best moments. And so we get this false perspective, and that's an added anxiety and pressure for teens today. Do you see that?
Oh, big time, and that's a big part. Like, I do one-on-one coaching with teens too, and we grow up with this fixed mindset of like, either I do something instantly and effortlessly really good, or I can't do it at all. And so I'm passionate about teaching the growth mindset, that we have the ability to get better and grow our skills with practice, and it all being just a matter of yet. And so in my presentation I directly address this, how social media has us thinking that success is just a straight line trajectory, and things should happen instantly and effortlessly. But I share examples like J.K. Rowling was rejected from 12 publishers before she could print Harry Potter, or Lady Gaga was even dropped from her first record deal after 6 months when she was 16. It's they say like overnight success is 20 years in the making, and I think it's just as simple as continuing to remind kids of that. And my story is one of them too. I sent out 600 emails when I first started speaking about travel safety at schools. I got 8 school bookings, so technically you could say I failed 592 times. But here I am,
But
you
here
know,
you are.
worldwide now. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we're going to hear just a couple comments from students, a couple students, maybe a parent who heard your recent visit to a school, and we'll go from there and see if your message is any different for us grown-ups or adults. Who knew? Okay, we'll take a quick break, come back and talk with Kate Fitzsimons in just a bit. All right, welcome back to Newsline Tonight. Our special guest, Kate Fitzsimons from Australia, motivational speaker. Here last year, here this year again, talking to some of our Eastern Idaho high school and middle school students.
Yeah. I even had the grade 6s and everything. It was really cool. And then I hadn't really done that age group before, but they latched onto it, so it was awesome.
Excellent. In fact, you spoke yesterday at a couple area schools. Here's a comment from a parent. All right. It says, Kate, you spoke at my daughter's school today. She has struggled with severe anxiety for years. She came home so happy and said the things you said today helped her so much. She learned so much to help with her anxiety. Okay, hang on to that thought there. Here's another one. Hi, Kate. I'm a student at this school. You are such an inspiration to me and many others of my friends. I would like you to know that you have encouraged me to practice the 3 R's. Recognize, reflect, and redirect. I am going to try to look at the bright side of the situation rather than pushing me and others down. Okay? I think I have one more here. Excellent feedback. Thank you so much for coming to our school. I really thought this assembly was going to be another average, boring assembly, but little did I know this assembly would change my life and the way I look at things. You hear those comments, one from a parent, 2 from a student, and what you do, what does that do for you?
It's so rewarding, and it's why I do what I do. As I said, these are all the things I wish someone had sat me down and taught me when I was their age, and as I said, it helps my heart to hear that little bit more. Of course, I would love my sister to come home, but I don't have that choice. But I made that promise to her the day I had to say goodbye. I was like, there is so much beauty that's going to come from this, just the way she spread beauty everywhere she went. And yeah, to know that I'm helping even just one kid be that little bit less anxious and overwhelmed in this world, it's why I do what I do.
Yeah, I mean, what if you got this whole list of itinerary of schools that you're visiting, and what if it's just that one? Mm-hmm. That's worth it.
I would fly across the world all over again, even if it was just the one. So.
A quick rundown here. You've been to Rigby Middle School. You've got tomorrow Eagle Rock Middle School, American Heritage, Taylor View on Friday, Monday Blackfoot High School and Snake River Middle School.
Yeah.
Okay. Tuesday Shelley High School and Middle, Malad High School. Wednesday, American Falls High School, Pocatello High School, and then wrapping up Thursday at Century High School for 2 different sessions, morning and afternoon. Yeah. That's the kids. Do you have a message for adults? Does it vary?
Oh, trust me, resilience is a skill that goes across all ages. It's the same thing, and the teachers always say and walk away saying that they learn so much from them.
Oh, really?
So I am beginning to transition to want to speak to the parents and the teachers more, especially as they're the ones in the day-to-day interactions with the youth, that they can really help build this skill, because just like any other skill, playing soccer or playing the piano, it takes practice. It's not an overnight thing. But I don't know, were you taught at high school how to manage your thoughts and emotions?
No, we aren't. It's learn as you go.
Yeah, so if I can put these tools in the parents' hands as well, they can practice it on themselves, because my greatest message is lead by example. And so if I can teach this message to the parents as well, and then they can pass it down to their kids too. So it's definitely the same thing though, of take control of your perspective. And the 3 R's is how you manage your thoughts. You recognize your thoughts, you reflect upon how they make you feel and act, and if you're not proud of them or bringing them closer to your goals, you redirect them.
I like that, the 3 R's.
Yeah.
More 3 R's in school, okay.
Yes.
It's not just reading,
writing,
arithmetic.
It builds responsibility, and that is your ability to choose how you respond.
Okay, we have a choice.
Yes.
Okay. We'll take a quick break and come back and talk to Kate Fitzsimons from Australia. And I think we have one more segment to go, but we cannot let you go if we don't, without talking about Australia, your homeland, and the wildfires there. Get a little perspective on that. So we'll be right back.
Have you listened to any of our train wreck podcasts?
Have not listened to that. Welcome back. We're going to talk about your podcast, your website. This is Kate Fitzsimons. She's a motivational speaker, and was here last year, here to this year as well, speaking to some of our area youth at the high schools and middle schools. And we've spent the last little bit talking about that. Your message for teens, same message for adults. But you're from Australia, and we see in the news, we talk about it here in the national news and whatnot. Australia's in summer and it's hot and dry and it's on fire. Give us a little perspective from where have you seen the wildfires?
Yeah, well, before I got here in November, and even before I left Sydney, the skies were so smoky. And it's been an early fire season. It's been a few hours from where my family personally lives, but we've had friends and family who have been affected and lost property, and that. It's been devastating. I shed some tears even the other week being away from home and seeing everyone suffering so much, and the millions and millions of wildlife that have been killed. But what has been so heartwarming, and I did mention...
Look at that photo there, look at that video. The skyline of a kangaroo and the hot...
Well,
birds.
what's been amazing is seeing how the world's come together to support us.
We've sent firefighters from here.
Yes.
There to help.
And even I have women knitting like pouches for the joeys that are injured and all the all the injured wildlife. It's been beautiful. So I actually use that as an example for the kids to show adversity really is our biggest opportunity to give and get more out of life and live with more meaning and contribute and connect. So that was a great example and a really recent one, and I can't thank you all enough for the way the world's come around and wrapped its big arms around Australia. We definitely need it and we definitely appreciate it.
That's amazing that you've been able to tie that into your overall message with teens. Overcoming adversity. So in our short time left here, if a parent sees this or a teen sees this, what's the best way, we got about a minute, to get in touch with more of your information? I know you have a website and a podcast.
Yes, yeah. So for more info on my school presentations, it's katefitzsimons.com.
There's the...
Yes, that is it, the link there. And also, I would love if any of what I've said today has resonated with you in any way, please join me on my podcast show. It's called OK, Now What? It's especially for teenagers, but parents can learn a ton as well as teachers. I take a topic each week of that a teen is likely struggling with and give them a fresh perspective and tools and strategies and how to overcome it. So,
OK, Now What?
OK,
and
Now What?
You can find it on iTunes.
Oh, sorry, yeah, iTunes, Spotify, and on my website, even Stitcher, I think, but I don't use Stitcher, so I think it's on there.
It's probably there. Okay. Well, you've got a busy schedule here for the next couple of weeks. We thank you for coming to visit us today, and we thank you for visiting with our youth and the message that you bring.
Oh, I won't stop. It's my greatest passion, and it's an absolute honor, so thank you so much, Todd.
Pleasure. Honor to meet you as well.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you. All right. Have a good night.